So what the hell is going on politically?
Should American colleges try to protect students from anything? Words, books, even ideas, simply because it might upset them?
I don't agree that you, when you become students at colleges, have to be coddled and protected from different points of view. What do you think? All right. He said amen.
Good afternoon, my name is Sebastian Ruiz.
I'm Aaliyah Leiden.
I'm Angela Bowie. And I'm Jackie Boston. And today we'll be regarding the question, to what extent does political correctness in present-day United States universities modify what college students learn on campus in regards to education? So according to the Pew Research Center, 98% of Americans believe that there is something wrong with the way language is spoken today. This can be encompassed in political correctness, which can be defined by Webster's Dictionary as conforming to a belief that language and believing in policies that offend political sensibilities should be eliminated. So political correctness started as Marxism in the 1920s in Europe, which then modified to critical theory in the 1930s, which overtook universities. Then, political correctness had migrated to the Americas during the era of women's and black rights movements, which had overtaken universities here. Today, universities are still overtaken by these topics from political correctness. For example, Ohio State had taken part of the Women's March on January 21st, 2017. This march consisted of fighting for women's rights in today's society.
Peaceful marches require a lot of tolerance. This is something that we may not realize is very important to our everyday society, especially in the classroom. Teachers and students do not always say what is on their mind to each other. This is depicted by this cartoon, where the man is asking the woman what she thinks, and even though on the inside she is thinking something that may not be very tolerant, on the outside she is holding back her internal thoughts. Proponents of political correctness will argue that political correctness teaches tolerance. And when you're looking at it from a two-dimensional basis, this is very true. When you're meeting new people, or meeting people that have a different culture than you, it is very important to maintain tolerance and respect when learning about their different cultures, or simply their different opinions. But when it gets to a three-dimensional standpoint is when you see the adverse side of this. Political correctness can often make your argument seem very sugar-coated in a three-dimensional discussion where some feelings may be hurt and some boundaries may be crossed. What many people tend to forget is that today's college students will be tomorrow's world leaders. So while in another two-dimensional discussion it is very important to maintain tolerance and respect, when certain tongue-in-cheek subjects have to be discussed, it is very important that leaders are not held back by being politically correct. Something that has come from the birth of political correctness on universities is safe spaces. And although for many students this is served as a sort of safe haven for them, where they can speak their ideas without fear of being judged or argued against, this is also negative to them because oftentimes they'll be coddled in these safe spaces and they won't be opposed by anybody that's interacting with them there. And simply put, that is not how the real world works. So oftentimes it's better for these students to get out of the safe spaces and be introduced to different viewpoints and arguments.
As Sebastian stated, there are many political correctness can be beneficial. However, there are negative aspects about it that colleges need to comprehend in order to improve their institutions. The first is that it provides growth. Students are treated like children who cannot handle an uncomfortable environment. An article by The Atlantic states that colleges are trying to turn their environment into safe places in order to shield their students from uncomfortable situations. This is not a good idea. Students need to be It also discourages individuality. This is a picture of Syracuse University in New York, and they discovered, and right now they're planning an international conference. When one of the organizers suggested a film to watch, one of the organizers excluded it because they were afraid that it would offend other parties. So that being said, this isn't right. Colleges need to be inclusive. President Obama stated in a commencement speech at Howard University that colleges are starting to disinvite speakers who have different perspectives. If they do this, students who dissent from majority opinion may feel like they need to alter their beliefs. And if they alter their beliefs, they'll feel restricted, and this will cause their learning environment to become restricted. So, okay. Political correctness also creates a hostile environment on campus due to others feeling the need to look at certain aspects of conversations, and this causes tension on the campus. This can be shown at Middlebury College in Vermont, and according to World's account, this college has always had a majority of Caucasian students, and because of this, these students have not learned how to deal with different races. And campus leaders are struggling to find ways to talk about race without offending others. This has created tension amongst the campus, and this tension has disrupted their learning environment. That being said, political correctness debilitates learning when the environment students live in is antagonistic. Thank you.
So political correctness today is one of the most famous topics of society's political talk. Connections come from Alberson College classrooms to college advocating for freedom of speech. So according to Richard Perez-Pera, the University of Chicago fights against political correctness in terms for freedom of speech. Though, to ensure a healthy environment, they make sure that it is in a non-violent security environment.
Regarding the issues that Malia has previously stated about political correctness on college campuses, we must identify some key solutions to this issue. The first solution that we identified was censorship, as censorship is something that can be seen in everyday speech. Yet, there are many concerns and limitations regarding censorship. The first being that it is unpopular among students, as can be shown by a Young Americans Foundation's national poll that states that while 97% of liberal students claim to support free speech, only 54% of liberal students actually support censorship. Not only is censorship unfavorable among students, but it brings up the issue of who gets to determine what is unfavorable to be said. Also, as Malia has spoken about before, political correctness hinders free speech. Censorship would only increase this by stopping conversation before it even starts. From these issues, we come to our second solution, being the creation of a Speak Your Mind Day. As riots have recently occurred in the University of California, Berkeley, it has shown our discontent towards other controversial speakers, as Milo Yiannopoulos was invited to University of Berkeley, therefore causing the riots. Yet, having a Speak Your Mind Day, where students would come together to advocate the freedom of speech, would allow for student bodies to understand new controversial sides. But due to the limitations of the planning of this event, you must consider when this event will occur, how it will occur, where it will occur, and who will run this event. Due to all these limitations comes our third solution, the creation of a club called Uncomfortable Learning, created by Zachary Wood and Williams College. This would be our favorite solution, as it is currently used in colleges today and allows for controversial speakers to spread ideas so that students can understand different opinions and various views, therefore not needing political correctness.
Thank you. Any questions?
Go to the middle. All right, Angela, you're up first.
All right.
What part of the outcome suggested the need for more research on the topic?
So our particular favorite solution was the creation of the Club on Comfortable Learning. And since it is currently used in a school today, we needed extra research on that particular school so that we could fully explain what the implications of the solution were.
All right, thank you. Let's go to you, Jackie.
Okay.
How did your own views change based on the evidence from that other people brought up?
So Malia's point of view on the topic, her lens, really introduced me to the negative connotation of political correctness. Prior to our research project, I had not fully understood the concept of political correctness in terms of why it is bad for society. I thought that advocating for freedom of speech did have its points of view, though political correctness was needed. But after looking over Malia's resources and her research, I understood the terms that were needed to make this project.
All right, thank you. Malia, let's go for you. What changes did you make to the presentation based on what other people in the group said?
For my own
Sure. Yeah.
presentation? Well, Angela had to delete some of her solutions actually because we didn't have enough time for them. And for me, I had to delete some of my examples because of the time constraint. I actually had a slide about how students are pressuring their professors to not discuss certain topics. Thank you.
And Sebastian, in the future, what change would you make to the norms of your group, and how would you expect that to improve your overall presentation?
I believe that starting practicing together much earlier on would have benefited our group a lot more. It's very hard when you have 4 people with busy schedules to align, meeting dates. So next time around, that'd probably be a better idea.
All right, you guys can breathe. You're done.